going to be doing here is I'm going to be showing how to customize the new Pegassi Reaper in GTA 5 for free using single player, even though it's not regularly purchasable through single player. I'll basically just be reviewing it and going through all the customization options. This will be a good option for you if you either A, don't have enough money to get the cars yet and you want to see what you want to save up for. As a car guy myself, I'll kind of be referring back to some of the stuff there and kind of going over some things that other YouTubers typically overlooked in reference to how the vehicles operate. I'm going to quickly go over how I do this, so in case you have done this before, feel free to skip past this video after I've uploaded it. Anyway, my name's the Blue Bomber here, so let's get started with this. Don't mind the dead body there. So what you want to be doing is, unless you have, a great ton of money already in GTA single player, the best thing to do is to use Franklin for this. And the reason I'm saying that is because at some point during the single player campaign, you can go up to Gran Senor Desert's Los Santos Customs up here and purchase this for around $300,000 to $400,000 of in-game cash. And I recommend doing that as soon as possible with him, because every single vehicle that Franklin takes in there can be modded for free. So you can really see how far you can be able to push cars in this game. So what you want to first do is switch over to Franklin if you haven't already. Next, we're going to just go pop over into online and jump over to the creator. And we're going to create a land race. So, things like race details, the title, description, photo can be whatever you want, because this is going to be something that ends up getting not saved, so it doesn't really matter what you make it. So I just throw in gibberish just to satisfy the minimum care. Photo, just snap whatever comes up first. Maximum players, just to make making the race a little bit easier, I just drop it down to 2. It has to be a GTA race. When I show you how to do this and you're actually driving a vehicle around in here, you can go into pretty much any garage, any Los Santos Customs. The garage door will open, but if it's not a GTA race, you won't get the options to modify the vehicle for some reason. So it just has to be a GTA race. You can set it to laps, or you can set it to point to point. It doesn't really matter. I set it to large grid, so I maximize the number of types of vehicles I'm able to use. Out of available vehicles, I'm going to jump over to Super, and you can choose anything you want in here. I'm actually going to go back. I already did the FMJ. You can even pick some cars that you can only get through Benny's in here. Unfortunately, you won't be able to customize them in Benny's, because for some reason they never decided to push Benny's into single player mode. Which is something I'd really like to see them do, even if it's like once you hit 100% completion that those DLCs get unlocked or something. Everything else, I'm going to make sure that, just to make sure lighting and everything like that looks good. We're going to keep on return traffic off, so I don't have to deal with any NPCs. Background music, all that stuff. So next thing we'll go is the placement, and we'll actually start building the race here. So I'm doing I think I picked a point to point. So I'm going to pick a lot of nice little straightaways here to get a good feel for how the vehicle runs first. So lobby camera, again, same thing with the other picture, just grab whatever comes up first. And now we're going to go to the fun part, and probably the most equally annoying part, and that's placing all the checkpoints for something that I'm actually going to remove, or I'm not going to be able to save. And it has to be at least, you can see down in the lower right corner of the screen where the race length is, it has to be at least 0.6 miles. I'm not sure what the significance of that is. I don't know if that's maybe some kind of weird conversion from kilometers or what, but so you have to at least get to that point. That's why I like to just do the point-to-point races, because I can just pick a bunch of straightaways and not have to worry about anything else. So see, once I hit that area there, I can really quit this part if I want to. But like I said, I want to kind of just get a feel for how cars react. So once I'm done with that, I'm gonna head on back. And then last thing you absolutely have to do to get this to work right is to test it. And what that's going to do is it's going to drop you down as if we're going to start the race off, and you're going to see that I actually already have the Reaper here. Didn't have to purchase a darn thing. You can set it to 1 lap. You don't have to do 2 or 3 or 4. You can just set it to 1 just to prove that it can be done. And then GTA will let us go to the next screen. So once you're there, you can you want to do the switch camera. You see in the lower right hand corner too. And as soon as I do that, well, first of all, you have to be on a level area like a road. So as soon as I get the little target there, I can hit switch camera. I still call it the select button, but whatever. I'm not going to change. So now, as Franklin, I can drive the car around wherever I want, do whatever I want with this thing. And it's a load of fun to do this, especially because there's no NPCs around. You don't have to worry about anything else. Just really get a good feel for the vehicle. Personally, my first impressions of this car is when I first saw the picture of it, I figured, okay, this is going to be the thing that I replace my is the Lamborghini in single player. I mean, in online. The more and more I'm looking at it, I still think I'm going to, because I don't really drive it very much anyway, and I think this would just be a nice update to my existing garages, specifically my supercar garage. I'm kind of a car nut when it comes to this thing, so I mean, I really like the stock wheels. I wish that they would have a version of that can be recolored. Especially for other vehicles. There's a few of them that I know that I would really like to see that on. Maybe at some point in the future, because I know some other stock wheels, their vehicles, like the Cheetah, you can get that same rim for their vehicle and get it recolored in chrome or carbon. They would do something like that with these ones, because these are pretty badass. The one thing that I don't like about this, and I'll kind of get into this in Los Santos Customs, is the lack of customization. I know this isn't Need for Speed Under, so we're not going to be, slapping every single body kit in the world on here, but for something that's going to cost upwards of, I think 1.2 million to buy this in the game, that's something out of it that we could customize. Overall, I still think that it's a really nice shape. I wish that maybe the exhaust tips, that there was an alternative for that, because I'm not really digging these weird shaped exhaust tips. I know that they go real nice and flush with the rest of the car, but from a stock point of view in terms of performance, I really wasn't too blown away with this. If you have the money to buy one of these, you're probably going to have the money to max it out too. So I don't think that's too much of a big deal. But I don't really think that it performs very well from a stock point of view. I mean, it's going to be interesting seeing how people do non-custom races with this vehicle, and see how well it holds up. Because I still think, bottom line, I still think the T20 is the best vehicle in the game. I think it was the best thought out vehicle. I would like to see an option on this where I can get rid of the what is it, louvers or whatever they are, so that I can expose the engine in the back there, because it looks like there's something really cool under those plates, but you can't see anything, and I would really like to see that. And I think one of the secondary colors does change some of the colors of the engine, but you can't see it, so that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. And that kind of brings me to one of my other points about the styling on this that I didn't really like, is the secondary color doesn't do anything, from what I can tell, except for, and I'll get into this whenever I'm customizing this car, is the stitching in here. I mean, you can't really see too much of it because the car is already gray, and I think the secondary color is gray anyway, but the stitching in the seats and around the dash and everything like that is also the secondary color, as well as I believe the engine bay. But instead of guessing about that, why don't we get into seeing what we can do with this thing? So instead of driving all the way up there, I'm just gonna go up here. If you haven't remembered where this was, basically it's right down from Trevor's airfield here and the prison, which is right here. You can kind of see this little setup of blocks here. I think this is the motel, and you got the Fleesa Bank over here with one of the 24/7 things, and right here is the LSC for this area. So the thing I like about this is once I go in here, I can select where I'm at, and you can see if you hit A or X on PS4, you'll just warp right to it. So anyway, as long as you have this purchased, everything in here is going to be free. So let's go in. Don't go in too quick, because sometimes he might not load in there, and if you run him over, you're going to have to drive all around and wait for him to respawn before you can actually use this. So the first thing you're going to want to do, obviously, is hit repair vehicle, but right as soon as you're done with that, do not hit down on the D-pad. Because if you do, you're going to glitch it out like this, because it's going to think that you're trying to go back into the race menu, which actually I will demonstrate that right now. So if I'm actually out here, you can see where it says, but you see the press down arrow on the D-pad to activate the menu, and that's what it's going to think that it's doing. So when you go in here, you want to, in order to navigate, use the joystick. So I'm going to go through and just grab everything that's basic on every car. Horn, horn I'm not too, it was a cool thing at first when you first bought the game, but lights, go with xenon for sure. Neon kits, I'm not a big fan of neons. I was back when Fast and the Furious came out, but I've grown up. Respray, I'm going to get to that in a minute. Spoiler, suspension, okay, here's a good one. So that's the one that I like the most. One thing that's really weird about this, and I guess that it's because it's already this low to the ground to begin with, is that it only goes down to sports suspension. There's no competition suspension like most of the other vehicles are. I know I think it's the Osiris actually doesn't have a suspension option at all, so it might just be some weird little thing that they decided on with the supercars. But one thing that else I was going to say was, if you do have sports suspension enabled on this, when the car hits certain bumps and the wheels really rock up and down, you'll actually see it phase right through the geometry of the car. And I think that that's just one little goof that I think Rockstar kind of really missed the boat on, and should have fixed that before releasing this. But that's just my opinion. Wheels, I'm not going to touch the wheels, because I really, like I said, like these wheels. And I like the gunmetal look of them too. I mean, they might look pretty cool if they were chrome. There's just something about this that I really like. But painting stock wheels would be something that I really wish that they would do with certain cars too. Windows, yeah, of course I'm going to go with limo on that. So that's it for the basic options. I'm surprised to see that there's nothing in terms of bumpers on here, like a little bridge that goes across the front as a front lip under the front lip spoiler of some kind. Just something, or even if it was like the I think it's the Feltzer has the option to have the vented the vents right above the front wheel wells, and just something to set this apart from the others. Even the rear bumpers you could probably do some really interesting stuff with. So I'm really surprised they didn't put anything in with this. Again, it's a supercar, I know, and there's not a lot of options with many of the other supercars too. But for these things here, I mean, the Banshee, the new Banshee 900R and the Sultan RS are also classified as supercars, and yeah, they go into Bennies, but those things have a boatload of customization. So I'm just really surprised that they didn't add anything to these new ones. I hope that they change that in the future, because lowriders and the little mini cars that have the sticker bombs and stuff like that shouldn't be the only ones that have the ton of options. I'd like to see something else added with these, just for the sake of doing car shows too. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. plate, nothing really new with that. I'd like to maybe see some custom designs, or maybe you could get in the social club and upload custom designs for, and maybe get those kind of plates, kind of like you can do with certain states, have maybe like a tire on the back or something like that, just to do something different. Respray, so again, like the secondary color, I'm gonna go with the matte so we can actually see stuff in here. But yeah, you can kind of see through the back there as I'm going here that the engine cover changes for the secondary, but yet with those plates on there you can't really see them, so I don't understand what the point of doing that was. But then again, so if I go in here, you can also see that the stitching does change too, so that's one interesting thing with it. But I feel like that should have been something that was its own color option for like interior or something, not part of the secondary color. But me, I like red stitching and all that stuff in here, and I think the red looks good as the engine cover as well. I know that secondary color changes the brake calipers on the FMJ. I'm not sure if it does that on here too. No, it doesn't. Like I said in my other video for the FMJ, I really wish that brake cover was also another option in here other than primary and secondary, because I know some cars, I think like the new Windsor, you can actually change the color of the of that fabric roof that can be retracted. That's another option other than primary and secondary. So they have the option to put those pieces into the database, but they only do that with a select number of cars up. I just really think they're leaving a lot out here that probably could be added in fairly easily. But anyway, so primary color, chrome looks kind of cool in here. There's only a few cars I think that really do it well. But one color that I saw out on the street the other day that I actually thought was really cool was kind of like a blue and green, like a dark blue and green. So I'm actually going to do that with this one, I think. And I'm going to, since it's a matte color, I'm going to do the glitch color. So if you don't know how that works, I'm just going to do that real quick. You basically select either matte or one of these metals that don't normally allow you to choose pearlescence. And you go to metallic and you just start scrolling up or down just so that you go through all 75 options. You don't have to pause on anything. But as soon as you get past that, just go back. And this works online too. So, and just go to headlights and just swap the lights. So whatever one you had equipped already, just go to the other one and then re-equip the one that you already had. Go back into respray, go into primary color, go down to pearlescent, and you'll see that you have these options now. Now it's kind of hard to do it in this Los Santos custom shop in single player because the lighting is pretty bad, to be honest. But you can see some stuff. Having just that little extra brightness in there, I think is really cool. But I want to see what this looks like with lime green, just because I know it's going to be like this really obvious color. But heck, even race yellow looks kind of cool because it kind of blends in with that blue and kind of gives it that green look that I was thinking of. But actually, dew yellow does it the best. And you know what? Lime green might be a little too much. Let's see what that looks like, because I don't know. It looks kind of the same. Actually, okay, this one does look a little bit more yellow. So yeah, I am going to try out this one here. Let's see what that looks like. That might be too much, but nice thing about this is all those freeze on there. So I'm going to try with bright green because I don't want it to be too obvious. Secondary color, we already made that change. The spoilers, again, I feel like they could have done something a little bit better with this, maybe even having a primary color painted version that's not all black or carbon looking. I'm not really a big fan of that giant spoiler on the back, so I'm kind of going to just go with something basic here. I'm kind of a fan of like a less is more type of thing. And smoke, one thing I do like about still doing this in single player is they still have the Patriot tire smoke from a few years ago from the 4th of July update. That I really wish they would add back in because it was a really cool custom thing. But anyhow, so that's where we're at here with this. And you know what? With this color option, I really think this is a pretty cool little color. I think I used, what, the lime. No, I used the bright green for this. Yeah, if I used the lime green, it would have been way too overpowering on that color. I think I saw a Pontiac Grand Prix with this pearlescent color on it, and I hadn't seen one of those in years, and I really, really like that option. So now that we have that in here, we can test this out. You know, if you memorize any specific tracks, you can warp to those starting points and try those out without any traffic around, or just drive around and see what you can do with it. One thing that I do like to use is a custom race called Hit the Apex, and I'll leave a link for that in the description rather than showing that off. I do plan on making another video in the future here that shows you know, that entire track in its entirety in this mode here, because I've raced every single one of my cars in there in online. The thing that I really do like about it is it takes 10 minutes to do 2 laps, which isn't really bad, to be honest, because after that it gives you about 8 grand just for driving 2 laps by yourself in that race. And you know, when they do the double money and RP on all races, that's almost 20 grand per race, which is actually pretty cool. It's a good way to just, you know, make up some extra money if you needed it. But you know, I'm gonna go through with this. Just test this out on the. I like going onto the highways for these things, even though I know this isn't the highway. But I think this. I just really love this color. I'm surprised I haven't done this color combination before. But anyhow, if you want to actually get this in single player mode, like I had with the FMJ at the beginning of the video, all you got to do is just go press down to activate the menu, hit down again, go down to exit. It's going to say that all your progress is going to be lost. Don't worry about that. Just hit OK. And as long as you did this with, this will work with any character, really. So just go down to exit to Grand Theft Auto 5, not GTA Online, obviously. We'll go back up into the Cloud Sim here and spawn back in as Franklin. I really hope, I know I've said this before, but I hope Rockstar doesn't patch this, because it doesn't hurt them at all. In fact, it really, I think in a way, might help them, because you get a chance to test out other cars that you may not have wanted to try before. And really make you, you know, try out a bunch of other things too. So other options that you maybe haven't considered, because what's really cool about that is that Rockstar never enabled a, you know, shopping cart system so you could try out different combinations. You have to keep spending money just to try something out, and if you don't like it, you're SOL. And that's kind of short-sighted on their part. I'm not trying to offend anybody there. Maybe they had a good reason of doing it, but I think that that was a missed opportunity there. So once we're back in here, we'll just go into the vehicle impound, because that's actually where it will set up at. So once you get over here, sometimes the car and the icon on the map won't show up right away, so you might have to stand here for a minute until it loads up. But just like normal, go in here. You see I actually had an FMJ in here too. And there it is, 100% exactly the way that it was in the creator. So you can go ahead and save this car to you know, one of your multiplayer garages, or not multiplayer, one of your primary garages that's attached to the house, or one of the 4-car garages, whatever one you want to do. You know, overall, I mean, I still think that the FMJ is the best looking of the 2 supercars that they added with this one, but you know, I'm just really digging that paint job. I wish there was more of a you know, an option for changing the secondary color on the body. I really don't understand why they didn't include something. I mean, even on the FMJ, the front bumper can be given an option for that. But you know, and even the fact that this has like the roof scoop on it, and there was no option for this one. It just puzzles me why they promoted the heck out of this car and then gave you really nothing for it that can be customized aside from the basics. But and even the interior is still just real basic. I think this is pretty similar to the Zentorno on the inside with all the carbon fiber. I don't know. I'd have to check that out when I do a stream of all my garages later. But yeah. So you can do this, or you can, hand this off to one of the other characters, and I'll do another stream about that later too, of how to, pass these around. Because it's nice to be able to start these out with Franklin, so that he can be able to get all the parts for free, and then you just hand it off to Mike or Trevor by calling them and asking them to hang out, and then just play with it a little bit. So, anyways, thanks for watching. I'll leave a description to the race that I used to test these out with in the description, if I can still find it in the social club. Thanks for watching. This is Blue Bomber. I'm out.